Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now we are going to discuss the period of a trigonometric ratio. What do we mean by period? As we have already discussed graphs, so you know graphs of sine, cos, and tangent. I just revised this graph of sine x only. That graph was of something like this. Within 360 degrees, this graph has completed one cycle. Then if angle is extended to 720 degrees, then one more cycle of same shape is repeated. The graph where it starts repeating itself from till that point, this is called its period. So period of graph of sine x, that is 360 degrees, because it completes its one cycle in 360 degrees and then it repeats itself. So similarly, same thing is there for cos x. The matter of tangent x is little different, and we had also discussed few more things along with it, like if there is a graph of a sine bx minus c plus d. We discussed these constants, that what do they mean, and this value of b only, this decides about period. How do we decide about period? By using this value. If you look at it, its detail in the previous video of graph of sine x, we had named it frequency of the graph. So now we will discuss that in what context we call that frequency, and now what do we mean by period. So these two things we have to relate. Now we will ignore other things like this A, C and D. We won't discuss these things, but only we will focus on the period. So if this is y is equal to sine x, then its graph, one cycle is completed in 360 degrees. Then we say that period of the graph, period is 1. One period is there in 360 degrees. So what does it mean? That if the graph is 720 degrees, then there will be double. That is, there will be two periods. Or within 360 degrees, if we write it as y is equal to sine 2x, then previously we said that this is the frequency of the graph, frequency in 360 degrees. That means frequency in 360 degrees, that means there will be two cycles, one cycle and two cycles in 360 degrees. If there are two cycles in 360 degrees, then one cycle is completed in 180 degrees. So its period is 2. That means two cycles are there and its period is within 180 degrees. So that means whenever we know very well that one cycle is completed in 360 degrees this way, then if the angle is 2x, then place 2x equal to 360 degrees, then x is equal to 180 degrees. That means one cycle of the graph is completed in 180 degrees. So the period of this graph is 180 degrees. Similarly, if it is 3x, y is equal to 3x, sine 3x. If this is y is equal to sine 3x, sine 3x, then place 3x equal to 360 degrees, then x is equal to 120 degrees. Now both the things we can consider that there will be this 3 tells us that there will be 1, 2 and 3 cycles in 360 degrees. 360 degrees, these are 1, 2 and 3 cycles. So each cycle is completed in 120 degrees. 120, 2s are 240, 3s are 360. So frequency of the graph is 3 in 360 degrees. This is frequency. And if you want to tell period of this graph, then that is 360 divided by 3, 120. So this is the way we decide about period of a graph. Okay, now there are a few more examples. Let's look at them. Here, these few things are given here. That find the period of each of these functions. Now we know that one period of sine y is equal to sine 2x. One period is completed in 360 degrees, then place the angle equal to 360 degrees, then x will be equal to 180 degrees. So period of this graph is 180 degrees. Now this is cos 5x, cos 5x, then place 5x equal to 360 degrees, then x is equal to 360 divided by 5, that is 72 degrees. So period of this graph is 72 degrees. Now here cos x plus 1. So if there is plus 1 or minus 3 or whatever number is added or subtracted, we already have discussed in previous lesson that this number translates the graph along y-axis, upward or downward. If graph is moved upward or downward, it does not make any difference in its period. So that and the period will remain same. So its period will be decided by the value of x. X is equal to 360, therefore its period is 360 degrees, and its frequency is one cycle in 360 degrees. Here in this graph, once again you can see that this 5 will be the amplitude. Let me write here. Y is equal to sine x minus 30. Y is equal to sine 5 sine x minus 30. There is no number along with this x, therefore its period is 1. Frequency is 1 in 360 degrees and its period is 360 degrees. This is its amplitude, and this is the graph will move 30 degrees towards left. So one thing I would suggest that, let me make these lines here. This is vertical line, and one horizontal line, this way. Now this is 0, minus 30, and plus 30, and this way. So the graph will be, its amplitude will be 5 units. 5 units this way, upwards and downwards. This is 5 and this will be minus 5. Okay. Now the graph has to slide 30 degrees towards positive. On this side, towards right, the graph has to move towards right. Or in other words, you can say that this line is moved 30 degrees towards left. So this is easier way to, instead of moving the whole graph, you can move this line this way on this side. Similarly, if there is something like this was cos x plus 1. So in this type of graph, y is equal to cos x plus 1. Once again, if we draw these two lines, horizontal and vertical, this is vertical line, and I draw one more horizontal line. Okay, then cos x, the graph of cos x. First of all, draw the graph of cos x. This way. This is very rough. Let me draw it again. Okay, you have to move the graph 1 unit upwards. This is at 1, this is minus 1 here, no, over here. Then what you can do, the graph is to be moved 1 unit upwards. So instead of moving the graph 1 unit upward, we can move this line 1 unit down. So this will be the graph of cos x plus 1. Okay, but if the graph is moved upward or downward, it does not make any effect on its period. Period will remain same 360 degrees. This is, this will be at 360 degrees. Now we will talk about the graph of tangent x. Tangent x, there is tangent, its cycle is completed in 180 degrees, because the graph of tangent x, we had drawn this graph. I am making very rough graph this way. This is 90 degrees, and then it comes here. This is 180 degrees. And you can see that the graph is repeated. Same thing is repeated here. So one cycle of tangent x is completed in 180 degrees. So period of tangent x is 180 degrees. So if I write it as y is equal to tangent x, then period is 180 degrees. Then if y is equal to tangent half x. Then half x is equal to 180 degrees. Then period will be 360 degrees. If I sketch its graph, shape of the graph does not change. Only these values. This value becomes 180 degrees and this one becomes 360 degrees. That is the difference it makes. So its period is now 360 degrees. Okay, next, tangent 3x. Y is equal to 2 tangent 3x minus 4. Once again, these two numbers make no change in its period. So the period, we know about tangent x, that it completes in 180 degrees. Then x is equal to 60 degrees. So the period of this graph is in 60 degrees, and the graph is 4 units downwards, and its amplitude becomes 2 times. This is the way we can make the period. We can decide about period and we can sketch the graph. Actually, we use two different words, sketch and draw. When you use the word draw, that means it is to be drawn accurately. But when we say sketch, then it is this way. Not accurate values, but general behavior of the graph is discussed. Okay, now here tangent x plus 45. Once again, this will move 45 units left towards left, but period is not changed, so it will remain 180 degrees. Sine 2x minus 60, its period is 2x equal to 360, period is 180 degrees. That's it. Okay, now sketch on separate diagrams the graph of this. Look, you are asked to sketch the graph. So if we sketch the graph of y is equal to sine 3x, and this is domain 0 to 360 degrees. So within 360 degrees, there will be, how many cycles will be there? 3 cycles. So this is 1, 2, and 3 cycles will be there here till 360 degrees. This will be 240 and this will be 180. You can see that there are 3 periods, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, cos 2x minus cos 2x. Y is equal to minus cos 2x. So it will be, first of all, let's see roughly that this is the graph of cos x, and if it is minus cos x, it will be upside down. So the graph will be minus cos 2x, one cycle, and then the other cycle. This is at 360 degrees. This point is at 180 degrees. So its period is 180 degrees. There are 2 cycles in it. Okay. Then next, tangent half x. And this time its domain is from minus 360 to 360. Okay, now you can see that minus half x. Sorry, tangent half x, minus 360 to 360 degrees. Y is equal to tangent half x. Now half x is equal to 180 degrees, x is equal to 360 degrees. So the graph will be this way. Here and this way, this value, if it is tangent x, if this value is x, then this is 90 degrees. So half x is equal to 90 degrees, then x is equal to 180 degrees. So this point is at 180 degrees and this will be at 360 degrees, and on the left this is minus 180 degrees and this will be minus 360 degrees. So this way you can sketch the graph. Okay, 2 sine 4x, that means 0 to 180 degrees. 180 degrees. If 4x equal to 360 degrees, x is equal to 90 degree. One cycle has to be completed in 90 degrees, but now the domain is till 180 degrees, so we will draw the graph in the similar way, 1 and 2, because we have to finish it by 180 degrees. So this is 90 degrees. So there will be 2 cycles within 180 degrees. This 4x tells that these are 4 cycles in 360 degrees. So when you decide about period, you have to place it equal to 360 first. Then its period is 90 degrees, but if it is restricted to 180 degrees, then there will be only 2 cycles within it. Okay, next, this is 3 times tangent, and these 2 parts, I think you should try these 2 by yourself. I hope that you can draw them easily now, as I have tried to make it clear. So this is very important to learn, because you will find many questions in past papers that they are about this period and amplitude and translation about x-axis and y-axis. So considering all these things, you should practice all of them, because these are very minute things to be understood, so that you won't make any mistake in the final paper. So wish you all the best. Allah Hafiz.